everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to another episode of Nurture and also a space where we'll talk about motherhood, healing, womanhood, and the realities we often don't share enough. I'm your host, Bumi, a first-time mom, a wife, and most especially a girl, finding her rhythm in the middle of motherhood, work, and everything in between. Today's episode is a very personal one. It's a story that changed me forever. A story about faith, fear, strength, and the moment I truly became a mother. This is the story of my son's birth and stay in the neonatal unit. My pregnancy was beautiful. I had a good pregnancy. I was healthy, baby was healthy, everything felt right. Everything felt peaceful. I was excited, never sometimes, but in that innocent first time mom way. And when the day finally came for us to go to the hospital, I remember thinking, wow, this is it. I'm going to meet my baby. I went in with my husband. I was having mild contractions, but I was okay. We were smiling, we were laughing, we were talking about how life was about to change for us, but we didn't know just how much it was going to change. When we got to the hospital, they admitted me into the prenatal ward. And what I thought would be a quick experience became 3 long days. 3 days of inducing, 3 days of listening and praying. I remember laying there and hearing other women in the labor screaming, and honestly, I was scared. Every cry reminded me that my turn was coming, but I didn't know when. I didn't know how, and I definitely didn't know what my own experience was going to look like. And whenever someone in the same world as me left to go have their baby, I'll just sit down and think, when will it be my turn? When am I finally meeting my baby? Those 3 days felt like the longest countdown of my life. I was excited, but I was also anxious. And that mixture of joy and fear is something only a mother can truly understand. And on the fourth day, after the last inducing, I was taken in the labor ward and I was like, oh, finally, this is happening. Labor lasted almost 14 hours, but things didn't go as expected. The pain was intense. I was exhausted, my body was tired, and then my baby's heartbeat started to drop. I remember seeing the worry on my husband's face, and he said, this is it. I'm not going to sit here and watch you go through all this pain and distress. He wanted me safe. We wanted our baby safe. And so the decision was made, an emergency C-section. Everything after that moved so fast. I still remember being in the theater, drugged up and holding my husband's hand. I kept asking him over and over, tell me how much you love me. And he would squeeze my hand and say, very much, over and over again. And when they finally brought our son out, they placed him in my husband's hand and he looked at me, tears in his eyes, and said, thank you very much. And that moment stayed with me forever. Because in that moment, we're not just husband and wife anymore. We're parents. Our son was there. He was so big, so beautiful, and so perfect. After the surgery, I was taken to recovery. One of the nurses came and told me to breastfeed him because those first milk, they were very important. So I tried, but my baby would not latch. It was just not feeding. And as a new mom, I just thought, maybe he wasn't hungry yet. Nobody really explains this part to you. I just told myself I'll try later. What I did not know was, while he wasn't feeding properly, his glucose level was dropping. He was burning through the little energy he had left. And thank God a nurse already advised my husband to request for a glucose test. So he requested it. And that was where everything began. They came to prick his ear for blood test again and again. And after one of those tests, my husband called me and said, a nurse is coming to wheel you because he had gone with them for the test and he could see that things were changing. And before I could even process what was happening, I was taken to the neonatal unit. They told us our baby needed monitoring. I remember I just started crying. I held my husband so tightly and I told him this was supposed to be our happiest moment. Why are they taking my baby away from me? By the time I was finally able to go back and see him, my heart was shattered. There he was, my baby, with wires everywhere, tube in his little hand and something attached to his navel. Machines were beeping, everything just, I don't know. And I was looking at my child through an incubator glass. I was not even able to hold him freely. The only way I could touch him was through a tiny opening. And that became the beginning of my own motherhood. We prayed, we cried. My husband would read Bible verses to him. He would sing to him, tell him stories. He even watched basketball games beside the incubator because our son was born during the NBA finals. And Daddy didn't want him to miss any part of it. We prayed together, we cried together. And our baby, our strong boy, he was fighting. We named him right there in the neonatal unit. The pastor came, our families joined on video call. We stood around his incubator. It was emotional. It was painful, but it was also beautiful because even in that space, God was there. Every tiny improvement felt like a miracle. And then they told me they were going to discharge me, but I would have to stay. I broke. I screamed. I remember saying to the doctor, no, I am not leaving this hospital without my son. Because how do I go home? How do I go home when my heart is still laying in a machine? The doctor did not have a choice. They had to let me stay. I was still recovering from surgery. I was still in pain myself. I would run up and down the hospital all day, from postnatal unit to neonatal unit, just to sit by my baby. And that's when I realized something. Motherhood gives you the strength that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. My postpartum journey didn't start with cuddles and quiet night at home. It started with fear, with worry, with hospital corridors. But it also started with love, a very deep, unconditional love. And then one day, after all the tears, all the prayers, all the sleepless nights, they brought him back to us, my son, my strong, brave, stubborn little fighter. And that's how our own journey began. It was not in a perfect delivery room, but in a neonatal unit, filled with wires, faith, and love. Those 7 days changed me. It reminded me why I started this podcast. Because life isn't always pretty. Motherhood is not always smooth. Sometimes it is terrifying. It is traumatic. And women, we deserve safe space to talk about it. To say I was scared. I was confused. I felt helpless. I didn't feel prepared and still be seen as strong. So if you're a mom listening to this and you've had a NICU baby like me, I see you. I feel you. You are strong. You are brave. And your baby is stronger than you can imagine. Your story matters and you are not alone. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If this resonates with you, please share it with another mother or friend who might need to hear it. Remember, life will test you. Motherhood will test you. You are resilient, you are capable, and you are never truly alone. And as always, I am Bumi, and this is Nurture and Also, Until next episode, take care of yourself and hold your baby close. Happy New Year. Bye. Mwah.